soybean and soy meal market now. After witnessing a decline in soy meal exports during October and November, December brought some relief with exports surging to 2.77 lakh tons, marking an increase of about 1% on a year-on-year basis. This uptick was largely driven by higher demand from European buyers, particularly Germany and the Netherlands. Meanwhile, domestic soybean arrivals remain subdued, standing at about 46 lakh tons as of December 2024, an 11% drop on a year-on-year basis. Adding to the concern, soybean prices continue to hover below the MSP or the minimum selling price across key producing regions. To discuss this and more in greater detail, we now have Mr. D.N. Pathak, Executive Director of the Soybean Processors Association of India, now joining us. Mr. Pathak, thank you so much for taking your time out. And first up, your data suggests that although soy meal exports were down in the month of October and November, they've risen substantially in the month of December. Help us understand what led to this and how has January been so far as the export demand environment is concerned?
No, we do not count exports month on month because this depends on the orders taken a month back, because the orders which are already taken, in fact, there are already advance orders are taken. So December exports were higher because the orders for December were higher. The demand also for in these months is higher. But going forward, I do not see this kind of exports continuing because of the price pressure, because our prices are much higher than the global prices of and the competitors like Argentina and Brazil, which are our major competitors. So this is not something which is every month you count the numbers going up or down. You see the January exports will be much down than 2.77 lakhs. So that's how it works.
So it is not possible to consider on a month-on-month basis, and you're expecting the trend to decline. But in the month of December, several regions contributed to higher demand, especially European countries like Netherlands and Germany. How has demand from these regions shaped up after December?
I think there will be some demand from France. You know, France is a major buyer. Germany also buys some meal. But the demand, as we saw in the earlier months, I am not expecting the same demand to continue. Actually, Germany and particularly France, they are major buyers from India only because of our being non-GM completely. They have a major demand for non-GM soybean meal because of their non-GM poultry products. So, but as I said, going forward, our prices are still higher by about $30-40, $40 to $50. So I don't think we'll be able to continue with this kind of supply in the coming months. The trend will have to be downwards only right now, unless the government considers giving some support, which we have been asking for a long time, that exports need to be packed up and some kind of support is required for exports to continue. Let's see what comes in the budget. We are also waiting for the budget to see if there is any support for exports in the budget.
Okay, so Indian prices are higher and hence you do not expect demand trend to continue positively going forward. But since you spoke about expectations from budget and budget is round the corner, what do you as an association expect from budget 2025 that will perhaps help in boosting exports of soy meal?
I have not confined myself to export, but our major problem of the soybean industry and the farmers has been twofold. One is that the use of DDG as the alternative source of protein, which is much cheaper, is actually very badly affecting the demand of soybean meal. And the second is that the exports are not happening because of our prices. The third one is that the farmer this year, unfortunately and shockingly, is getting much less than the MSP, which has happened after about 10-15 years. We were always much of the MSP, but this year, so the farmer is worried, the industry is worried, and if the trend continues like this, then next year I'm afraid we are going to see a large drop in area, which will really be very bad for this big industry. We do have a poultry demand. If the farmer switches away from soybean to corn, which is more remunerative to him today, then we will have a huge problem. And the competitors, the countries which produce soybean, Brazil, Argentina, US, they're all watching with bated breath that the soybean production in India falls so that they can start exporting to us. That's a very big worry. And from the budget, we expect definitely some steps to boost these prices of soybean to at least bring it to MSP. One of the things that can be done is, of course, prop up exports, give incentives for export, which if we get some export incentives. Now, there we can have the roadmap rate is 2% now. The actual incidence of duties and taxes is about 8%. So if 8% is given there, then our freight, inland freight is too high for soybean meal and other commodities. That was used to be lower, but then the railways changed the classification. So if that freight element can be done something by the government to reduce the freight classification, then we will be able to export. And there is a huge demand world over for non-GM soybean meal. Our only problem is the big price difference. If it is $10, $20, we will be able to manage because of the premium on the non-GM. But the difference when it becomes $40, $50, $60, then nobody wants to buy at that kind of cost. So I'm expecting that the budget will look after these things. Also, to help soybean farmers in the long term, obviously it's a big task to increase productivity. The other thing which can be done and which should be immediately be done is to promote food use of soybean, value addition, which will help the industry for value addition. And if the food use is increased from the current 10% to 30%, we will have a huge demand for food products from soybean. The farmers will certainly get much of the MSP, and the industry will be able to run. So these are some of the things which we expect from the budget. Of course, there are other smaller things, but these are the main points which I think the budget should look at.
Expecting some kind of incentives to boost export going forward. But since you spoke about prices, also wanted your thoughts over here. MSP currently stands at about 4,892 rupees per quintal. Where do prices or at what cost are they trading currently, and what's the differential?
I think the current price is 4,100, between 4,100 and 4,200 at the mandi level. So there is a difference of about 600 to 700 rupees. And that's a big difference for the farmer to tolerate, to make up. So that difference has to be made up. And this is what we are wanting the government to help us, because the prices, we have no control over the prices. It's all demand and supply. So if we are able to export, obviously the demand supply will be matched properly and the price will be boosted. So export incentives, export help, whichever way they can be given. Like road tax is not an incentive. It actually should be reimbursed to us, because we are exporting taxes, which we should not be doing. Nobody exports taxes from any country. So that the government can perhaps immediately look at it and increase the road tax rates. Freight, as I said, is too high. Even the ocean freight from India is higher. And earlier there used to be some support for the freight and these things, but now there is not. Our logistic cost is very high at the ports. The other handling charge and all, everything is high. So if we can, do something about these charges, we are certainly going to be competitive because of being non-GM, and then everything will be good.
And what is the status as far as government procurement is concerned? Government has sanctioned about 33.5 lakh tons of procurement, but it has not reached, and it is currently at about 8.8 lakh tons. Do you expect this to inch higher in the rest of the year?
I'd like to amend the figure. The actual procurement has been 13.7 odd lakh tons up to now. This is the two agencies have procured, NAFED and NCCF, and together they have procured about 1.4 million tons. The dates have been extended on the request of the states of Maharashtra and Rajasthan. But I do not think this figure going up much higher. There must be some problem that the farmers are not able to bring their crop to NCCF and NAFED. Our views on this direct procurement have always been this, that rather than the agencies procuring and incurring the extra costs in storage, handling, and then the inefficiencies which are built into the system, they should go back to the old system of price reimbursement to the farmer directly, which was called a Bhavantar and which was experimented in Madhya Pradesh very nicely. I think there were some loopholes which people took advantage of, and for that reason the government did not consider the Bhavantar. But I think we should correct the loopholes and go with the excellent scheme which was there rather than this direct purchase. And we don't know when the agencies have bought the material, what will happen, when they will sell, at what price, and what will be the cost to the government. If the Bhavantar is there, we will buy at the market price. The farmer will get the MSP and at a much lower cost. So our view on that is this.
The word coming in as far as what the outlook is going forward and expectations from budget. Mr. Pathak, thank you so much for taking your time out and helping our viewers understand what the real on-ground situation is when it comes to soybean and soy meal.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.